It's a mess. C is a complete mess. Someone please update that language.
It's called C++.
Someone please update C++ also because the socket programming
They're still updating it.
Someone please do it faster. The string class is an absolute fucking nightmare. And that's for fucking strings. Alright? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I implemented that on Python. It took me. I had like 4 different files, for like one for like blockchain functions for blockchain and stuff, and the one giant server file because I didn't know how to split it up into different files. So I just decided to keep it all in one file. It was like 600 lines long or something. Like in total, I think I wrote like 1,000 lines for it. Could be well over 1,000 lines, but yeah. So I finished it in like 3 days. Like the most of the implementation in 3 days, and then I had to go back and change some things because I misunderstood the project a little bit. So that happened a few times. But like then came Friday and I had to demo the code to the TA, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about Paxos is that one of the checks that it has to do is that it has to check the sequence number. Like when a server sends out the prepare message, right? It increments a sequence number, and that sequence number is used to check if it should be accepted or not, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So in the first stage, right, what happens is that the server increments a sequence number and then sends that sequence number to all the other servers, right? And then when the servers are sending back a promise, they check if the sequence number is the largest that they have ever seen.
Okay.
And then make a promise, right? What I should have done is that when the server doesn't receive a majority of promises, it updates its sequence number to whatever the largest sequence number is. What did I break?
You probably hit one of the lampposts.
No, I hit the windmill.
How'd you hit the windmill?
You don't see this in video games anymore. Just wanton destruction. It always surprises me what is destructible in this game. But yeah, what I should have done is that it should have updated to the largest sequence number from one of the servers, right? It doesn't. It only goes up one at a time.
Okay.
Right? So if one server had done this process like 10 times, right? Then the max sequence number for all the servers is 10. And if another server who's just started tries to do the same, it has to do the same thing and fail 10 times in a row. And we had to implement a ton of delays too. Like I implemented delays for when any server is sending anything, which is like a maximum of 5 seconds delay, right? So my demo was incredibly slow, right? It had to do everything really slowly, right? And like the TA was looking at me like are things happening right now? Like I made this very, very slow, right? Please take out your phone and like do something, or like demo another person at the same time, right? Like it was incredibly slow. I should have implemented it differently, but I didn't because to be honest, I was lazy and I had other projects to do, right? Sorry. But I'm like apologizing and everything's going slowly and she's like, okay, just tell me whenever it's ready, whenever your process is finished, right? And so we wait, right? And then every time it's finished, I pass the test. Everything goes perfectly, right? Every time I pass the test, she'd bulge her eyes open like this, right? She'd like go like this, and like I'm looking at her like, you have absolutely no faith in my project. I say that out loud to her, like, and then she's like, because everything is so slow. Like, absolutely no faith whatsoever. Like, she was surprised. I got 100% on that, including extra credit. Right?
Nice.
Like, I saw everyone, I looked at like, the grading sheets for, like, other people's, and, like, lives are being taken on that project. Like, people do not understand how Paxos works. Right, I explained it to you, and you probably don't even know can't even fathom how it works.
I probably have to, like, grab a drawing board.
Yeah. There's a lot of caveats to it, but, like, the algorithm is fairly basic. It's just a lot of coding, too. It's just that filling in all the caveats also takes a bunch of, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Time? Effort?
A lot of code. Let's just say code, alright? It takes a lot of code too, right? And then there's also, we have to implement recovery.
Oh no.
And there's also blockchain. How can we forget about blockchain? Right? And also, it's socket programming, come on. That thing always takes up at least 50 lines of code by itself.
Yeah,
Have
sounds about right.
One socket.
Sounds about right.
Right? So that was that final project. The other final project I had for networking, oh god, networking, alright, was a Hangman game. Alright?
Okay.
This is like a third grader project. And
yeah.
like I did this in high school. But this time you have to use servers. So basically I did that.
Why do you have to use servers?
You use the server to host the game, and then you have clients play the game.
Oh jeez.
Yeah? Because it's a networking class. Brr! I don't know if this goes up to 5. If this goes up to 5, I'm guessing on this. I think it only goes up to 4, but I might be mistaken for the PS2 game. Hey. I might have to come back. I'm just gonna continue. I'm getting bored of this myself. Alright, so, first off, Ooga Booga time.
Ratchet, we have company.
Where?
Behind you.
Where?
Behind you.
Very funny. You having a good time?
You trespass on sacred ground.
You must die.
Now you walk path of death.
But, sir.
Path of death.
Okay, we're going.
Path of death!
Path of death! Can you exit the path of death? Oh, you can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't even come back later, there's no other planets. So here's the path of death. It's very deathly. As you can see. I believe there is a titanium bolt in this. Oh right, there's a skill point.
Where's the skill point?
I have to do this without taking a hit.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so the networking one was also just terrible. For reasons you can surely imagine. Right? But that one only took me like a day to finish. Because it was just, like I said, it's a high school project, but with servers. Right? But there was a whole bunch of other people who were having But I had a friend who was also in the same class I was, and he was having a lot of trouble with the project. So I was like, okay, I'll help you out while I'm finishing up my other projects, right? And I'm looking at his code, and it's like all over the place because socket programming, right? Oh, he died up there. Okay. But yeah, so that was fun. The networking class I had was the worst because the whole class was basically like, this is a dictionary of networking terms, and that is it. They emphasized like a whole.
What the fuck?
Excuse me while I have a breath of fresh air. I'm leaving this planet. Goodbye. Okay, no. Yeah, I don't have jet boots. Okay. So, So I finished that project. My friend is having trouble with the project. The networking class, right? It was like a whole bunch of networking terms to class, right? So like that. So the class, there was a whole bunch of red flags about the class. The biggest red flag. The biggest red flag being that the fact that the class had to use an iClicker. For those who don't know, iClicker just basically lets you answer questions in class.
Oh.
It just says A, B, C, D, E on it, and then you press a button corresponding to what answer, and then you put that onto the thing, and then it keeps the program keeps a tally of that, of who answered and what they answered, right? Basically, they say that it helps increase learning thingies, but the only reason why it's there is because they want you to go to lecture. That's all they want you to do. Stay in lecture, right? Mind you, this is an upper div computer science class, so if you never went to lecture, you're probably screwed because it's an upper div class, right? But you have an upper div class that uses a fucking iClicker. So that's one red flag, right? Oh fuck!
I think you took damage.
I did. I can tell because I lost health. So this is the squishy bummer. It doesn't instantly kill you. It doesn't even look like it does anything that terrible, honestly. Oh, I got squished to death. How mildly inconvenient. But yeah. So it was a whole bunch of dictionary terms like ICP, TCP, UDP, IP, NAC, GBD, GBP, all those ICMP. Oh, that's a good one. What else is there? Let's see.
POP.
Yeah, POP. That's good. SMTP. Yeah. You ever use that one? Let's bring it one further. Let's call the Ethernet.
Ah, yes.
Or the Aloha. That's an acronym, isn't it? It's not even a fucking acronym. But they put that on the acronym sheet. Like we're fucking stupid. What does Aloha mean? It means hello in Hawaiian. Fucking amazing. Oh my god, I'm terrible at this game.
It's just one of those days.
I like how they have spikes on top, just to make sure. Can I even get hit by those? No. Oh, you bugs survive being squished enough.
Ah, just like real bugs.
Yes. I've heard that all bugs are fireproof.
No, all bugs are squish-proof.
Oh.
Didn't you know? That's why you can't kill them.
Squish-proof indeed. But yes, I'm close to level up anyway, so... I could have sworn it was going to be, but that's the wrong reason. I gravity corrected. But yeah, you took a networking class, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you know my pain.
Yes.
It's okay. Not only that, but the test was like the midterms and shit. They had the dumbest questions on it. All right. Literally one of the questions on that test, and I'm gonna say it, is like, what are the arguments for the bind function?
Oh god.
All right. Not like what does the bind function do, or like what's the significance of the bind function. What are the arguments for the bind function? Yeah, it only goes. They have to do B5. Damn. So what are the So off the top of your head, what are the arguments for the bind function?
It's been literally many terms since I last used bind. I don't fucking remember.
That was a fucking midterm question. I hope you enjoyed that.
It seems terrible.
Yes, it was terrible. Thank you for asking. But you know what bind does, right? Like, generally what bind does.
I think it...
Or like what you use it for.
Obviously, you use it with a socket.
Well, you use it for the socket, but like, you use it to set up the server, basically.
Yeah,
So that's...
it allows it so... It makes it so that people or other clients can connect to the socket.
Yeah. And it doesn't like repeat the use of the socket ever. Always a problem. Right? It's like, you know what it does? Like, that's a more test-worthy question, right? What does bind do? What are the arguments? The arguments! I'm gonna tell you the arguments. The arguments to the bind function in C is the server structure, the server information structure, the length of the server argument structure, and the socket. Not in that order. It's actually the socket as an int, the server info struct that comes with the socket header, and then the size of the socket, no, not the socket, the fucking server address structure.
Struts!
Why would you put there on the fucking test? So I hope I illustrated why that class is terrible.
Yeah.
Alright?
I think you have sufficiently illustrated that.
And like, the worst crime of it all is that we only had 3 projects. Like, for me, I learned mostly through projects, right? I'm a very code-heavy boy. Alright? And so, we only had 3 projects, right? The first project was using a TCP and a UDP server, right? Wait a second. These don't light. Oh, they light now! Okay. Weird flex, but okay.
I guess they light up when you stand on them?
Blasphemy. But yeah.
This isn't Toho, you can't win by standing still.
Shit. Did I hit the guy? I did.
Yes,
okay.
you did. Yes, you did.
He kind of sort of teleported back there because his hitbox was still in the back while he was doing the jumping animation. But hey, you take whatever shortcuts you can in game programming, especially all of them. Okay, fine. Don't electrocute literally everyone. You're only electrocuting. But yeah, so we only have 3 projects. The first project was to use a TCP and a UDP connection to connect to a server, and you have to make the client and the server by yourself. But you're allowed to use whatever help you can as long as you cite them. All right. So that was the first project. The second project was using only a UDP, only making a UDP client. And it was supposed to teach you that UDP was unreliable, so they implemented a literal function that makes it so that you literally ignore a certain percentage of your packets, without illustrating how UDP is
unreliable.
So that was that project. So basically. First project, a lesser project than project 1, and then the third project was the Hangman client project, which was any kind of server socket you wanted connection you wanted, so you could do whichever one. I think it actually said, I think it actually stayed TCP. Never mind, I lied. So a TCP connection, but this time you play games on it, and you have to have 3 of them, right? So that was all the projects, and we went over stuff like, the class was like, oh, this is the application layer, this is the network layer, this is the SMPNP, this is the ICMP, this is the UDP, this is the UCFC, this is the... right? Basically, it goes into like a whole bunch of stuff like you would expect from a networking class, right?
Yeah.
But the projects reflect nothing on it, which I have to admit, you can't really make projects for networking because okay, let's say, like, how are you going to make a DNS project? How do you make a project that illustrates how the DNS works? You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I pressed jump.
No, you didn't.
I pressed jump video.
No, you didn't.
I disagree with that. But yeah. So like you can't. So a few of these things you can't really teach off the rip. You can't really have a project like, oh, make your own IP address and make a DNS. Pay money to make a DNS domain for your server that you made. You know what I mean? But there's no implementations of. But something we probably could have implemented are like NATs or like network address tables for like connecting between different routers and shit. Like if you receive a packet with this IP, just
you could set up network address translation.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can do something like that. You can understand what the network address translation table does. That wasn't even on the test. That wasn't even on the final. But we learned that anyway. Honestly, fuck that class, okay? That was the worst class I've ever taken. And I've taken a lot of worse classes before. So that was one of the worst classes. I'm gonna put that as number 5.
Number 5?
This is the Discovery Channel now.
What do you mean this is the Discovery Channel now?
It's canon. We have the cutscene to prove it. Nature's mysteries. Oh, fuck. Almost had it. I did this as a kid. I don't remember how. I must have been a dumb shit. Oh, platform, please. Platform, you saved me! But yeah, so my last project was compilers. So basically, compilers, we had 2 projects that were the visitor design pattern, which you probably never heard of. Yes, no? Are you going to prove me wrong or no?
And what?
Have you heard of the visitor design pattern?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you heard of it then?
I'm pretty sure we went over the visitor design pattern in patterns class.
My patterns class didn't go over visitor.
What do you mean your patterns class didn't go over it?
It was like half a patterns class and the other half was like projects in Java. It was basically teaching you how legacy works. That was the whole class. And it went into design patterns a little bit because legacy, you know, for code smell and shit. But like, we didn't really go into that many. We went over like 4, I think, in that class. But yeah, so you know how it works, right? You have a node. Node implements a accepts.
Yeah.
And it takes a node visitor, and then the node visitor would have its visit this particular type of node or function, and that keeps you from having to traverse the entire tree.
Pretty much. You can just go through this list.
Yes. Pretty neat shit, actually.
Yeah.
So this is for the so we learned the visitor pattern for the compiler, and the second project was learning how grammars work, like a top-down parser, right? And so projects 3 through 6 were all about the compiler, like making up the compiler. We just jump over all this guy. Huh. I wonder if I can swim. Bigger boulders for big mistakes. Oh, got it.
Skill point.
Neat. Do I want to spend time on that?
Not me.
Okay, We walked your path of death. Now, tell us what you know about Dr. Nefarious.
Huh?
Dr. Nefarious! They say you're the only man to ever beat him.
Huh?
This guy's even dumber than
Captain Quark?
Captain. Whoa! That's it, Quark. You've had this coming for a long time.
So yeah, we're fighting Captain Quark now. He has the exact same attacks as the other guys. Fairly easy boss. Now you're just gonna see at level 4, it's already chunking his health quite a bit. At level 5, it will kill him in one hit.
Oh, is that what you were trying to do?
Yes, I wanted to show that off, but unfortunately I don't think I can because it takes literally an eternity. There we go. Am I getting experience for this though? Let's see. I think I can check, actually. Next 101 out of 300.
Okay.
I'm gonna kill myself real quick, see if I can actually gain. Oh, kill me fast! Faster! Thank you. Cannot be! Oh, that does 6 damage. Alright, let's see. Another shot. Miss. Whoops. 2 experience! So that's about 200 dudes. I can make that work. Let's do it! I'm feeling frisky.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
When did that meme come back?
I don't know.
I feel like that's an old meme and then it got revived somehow. At least that's my interpretation because of the San Andreas meme. Yeah, this game has some questionable AI choices. Oh yeah, by the way, remember mods in the second game,
Yeah?
right? Now mods are included on level ups.
Oh.
So like right now I have the mod on so I'm not controlling the camera, but it like targets the guy.